And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new episode of Disruption Talks, where we invite top experts to discuss digital acceleration, winning strategies, innovation, and scaling products. My name is Pavel Averin, Operations Director at Netguru, and I will be your host today. You know, summer is over, and we're starting the new season with the amazing guest, Jens Echterling, Chief Product Officer of HeyJobs. And hello, Jens. It's a pleasure to host you here. Tell us a couple of words about you. We'd like to know you better.
Thanks a lot, Pavel. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. As you said, I'm Jens, Chief Product Officer at HeyJobs, leading of product at HeyJobs now for the past 3.5 years. Quick words about HeyJobs. We are a jobs marketplace, number 3 in Germany, behind Stepstone and Indeed. Now on the market for 8 years and strongly growing. About myself, I'm in product now. I just counted it for 18 years of my life, started my product journey with my own startups, did a lot of mistakes during that time, didn't know anything about product, but somehow struggled through. And then had the chance and the honor to work with a lot of great people in product, learned a lot. And this brought me in the past years to different chief product officer positions at scale-ups in Germany. And today I'm happy to be here.
That's great. So we have their amazing topics to discuss. But before we'll jump there, I have a couple of quick questions to ask, just to warm up us a little bit. So AI and product development. We've seen lots of opinions here and there and so on, but can you give us an example of complete bullshit in this area?
Well, if you want to see a lot of bullshit in that area, I just recommend you to look into your LinkedIn feed. I have the impression that all the former blockchain, crypto, and metaverse influencers have now quickly switched over to AI and are posting a lot of attention-grabbing stuff with very little substantiation. So tons of bullshit there, actually.
So how to spot it?
How to spot it? Well, I would say the more attention-grabbing things are, the less substantiated. Well, in the terms of product and engineering, there are tons of posts that promise either the end of engineering or the end of product management. It's always very pointed, but very little truth behind it.
Okay. Got it. So another one, what do you see as an underrated leadership skill in your experience, in your opinion?
At HeyJobs, we are using written communication and async alignment a lot, and I've done that also at past companies. So from my perspective, really high caliber written communication is an underrated leadership skill. If it is writing strategic narratives, red lines in documents that you're reading, internal blog posts, direct communication is great, one-on-one or even in a meeting. But when you're able to really have a great written communication, it gives you a much bigger lever and it's more lasting. So your blog post about the company strategy, you can reuse again and again, and it is read by many people across the company. So I would say written communication is very underrated when it comes to leadership skills compared to its actual importance.
So as I understand it, both helps you as a leader to structure your thoughts, right? And then for people to understand it better. And I can say I'm looking at our show notes, and it's one of the it's the best show notes I have ever seen. This is amazing. So Jens, you're definitely exceeding at this skill. So and the last one, we've talked about the noise on the LinkedIn here and there and so on. So what's your favorite trick for getting the team's attention? How to get through this noise?
Well, getting the team's attention, if you want it as a lasting effect, I have to say there is no trick or shortcut. In the end, it depends on continuous good leadership. That's the only way to get real attention. If your team understands that you as a leader are doing your job, supporting them, helping them, but also shaping the strategy together with them of the company, and that your feedback actually matters that you give to them, they will listen to you. But it's hard work actually to deserve their attention. So invest time into your leadership with the team, and then you will get their attention automatically.
Amazing. That's good. So you have their 110% of my attention. So let's dig deeper in their main topics. So you've been at the product management and strategy for more than 10 for 18 years. So you have seen lots of examples when teams were failing at delivery or exceeding and doing the excellent job at moving fast while moving fast. So what's your recipe for building better products faster?
The first thing that you need in order to run faster is actually running in the right direction. If you're running in circles, you will, do a lot of kilometers in the end, but will not change the position that you're in. So running in the right direction is my main advice in order to run faster. And that requires a few things. First, radical cross-company strategic alignment. Because as a product, you're not an island. You are embedded in all the other company functions. So better be really, really aligned. The second thing is think in strategic sequences to achieve compounded effects, as well as think in bets when you think about your product roadmap. The third one is balance quality and speed of initiatives. It's always good to run fast, but you also have to deliver the right quality. So what is the best balance? And the last one is empower your teams. Empower your teams to make the right decisions, also to make decisions at all, but also empower them with the right tooling, with the right processes in order to run fast. And happy to dive deeper into every one of those advices.
Exactly. Let's talk a little bit about this balance between quality and speed. What are your advices for the fellow product leaders? How to find this balance? What tools they can use, and so on?
Mm-hmm. One thing that I have done, I would say the past 10 years as a product leader, is give the teams autonomy on the small things that they want to improve. Of course, give them the right tooling, like what is the best A/B testing infrastructure so they can make informed decisions, they can run tests fast, and are then able to make the right calls. Stay with the feature, remove the feature, stay with the improvement, remove the improvement. So that's one side. But when it comes to the real strategic initiatives, the features that really improve the differentiation of your product, we are following a quite rigid approach that actually goes in 3 steps. And every step has an alignment meeting where the most important decision makers within product, but also with the adjacent function like go-to-market, customer service are actually present. The first stage that every major initiative has to go through is the opportunity validation. The opportunity validation makes sure that every initiative is strategically aligned with the overall company strategy. Secondly, it creates user or customer value. Why is that important? I don't think I have to tell that to to product leaders, but just to repeat it, only if you create additional value for your users, maybe all users, sometimes very important user segments, you're actually advancing your differentiation as a product. And the third thing is, it's often forgotten, but does it actually create value also for the business? Which business metric do you want to influence positively? And only when an opportunity, an initiative actually delivers on all 3 of those, it's worth pursuing further. So that's the first step. And as a product team in the discovery phase or in the first part of the discovery phase, really pay attention to does that initiative, that opportunity that you are seeing, deliver against those 3 requirements? Once that is done, and we all say, yes, we agree, we go forward, then we go into solution design phase. This is about finding the best solution to the problem that you have, or to the opportunity you have just, agreed upon, and defining what is the MVP of that feature that we want to launch, and what are the additional milestones that we are seeing. This is where, let's say, the creative work of the product team starts, where the product manager, the product designer, analysts or data scientists, if necessary for that specific initiative, and the engineering team comes together trying to find the best solution. Then we go into delivery, we ship the whole thing. And finally, which is pretty important, in the opportunity validation, we defined what do we want to achieve from the user perspective, but also from the business perspective. Then it is about measuring, did we actually deliver against our goals? So looking into tracking, looking into user feedback, looking into adoption rates of a feature, looking into retention rates of a feature. So to actually detect, do we deliver value to the users, but also to the business? So those 3 steps are actually important, and we formalized those. So there is a clear template how to do opportunity validation, solution design, as well as post-launch recap. And there is always a meeting. So we have a weekly product alignment meeting where teams can submit their initiatives and say, hey, I have an opportunity validation, I have a solution design, I have a post-launch recap. I want to present it. It's, we've talked about written communication already.
Yeah, exactly.
So they submit the document beforehand. Everybody comments with questions, with critique if necessary. And then we only go through the questions. So every team has half an hour for their initiative in every stage. And then it's about the decision. Pursue the opportunity. Are there any changes required to the solution design? And what do we do with the post-launch recap? So do we kill the feature because it's apparently not delivering value, or maybe even destroying value? Do we say the feature is great, let's keep it? Or do we say, hey, let's iterate, we are not there yet? And that gives transparency across the whole company. And what we have seen, both the work of the teams in those 3 stages, but also the comments, finally make every initiative better and better. And this helps us balancing quality and speed of initiative. So we are definitely looking for how can we fastly launch something, but also does it fulfill our requirements in creating value?
Amazing. I think you just gave all of us, a big chunk of ready-to-use habits to create successful products, like basically in 3 minutes. So that's great. So, for example, you've chosen the initiative, and now let's talk about how to deliver it better and faster. And here we're coming to, one of our main topic is how to use AI. So basically, HeyJob uses AI to help people to find jobs. And how does your team leverage AI in your product workflows? So have you seen any increases in efficiencies and so on?
Yes, absolutely. We're using AI in 2 ways mainly. One is for internal efficiency, and the second one is actually within our products. Let's first talk about the internal efficiency part. When applying AI internally, we not only apply it within product, but also looking into any other function where we can apply customer success, go-to-market, both in marketing as well as in sales, even finance. But let's not talk about those. Let's talk about product. So when we started using or exploring AI as an efficiency lever, we deliberately focused first on the whole engineering part, because there we saw, say, the biggest opportunity for the start. Started with the AI-enhanced IDEs, so like Cursor and Windsurf and so forth. and are now using more and more the AI coding engines like Claude Code. After, let's say, playing around in the beginning 2 years ago, we said, okay, now we need to push it a lot more. So our CTO, Boris, actually took it as a building block. Building blocks are, let's say, the big strategic initiatives as a company, said, let's push that. So we institutionalized actually our testing and experimentation. And we even staffed it with a team. So we have a dedicated product manager for AI efficiency. We have dedicated engineers. And what they're doing is systematically trying out new tools coming out or improvements in tools, and then supporting the rollout. So saying, this is working. We clearly see improvements, for example, in our DORA metrics that we are measuring through Haystack, or we have good engineering feedback. And whatever works, we roll out. What doesn't work, well, we don't roll out, of course. And then we support engineers in how to use it. We document best practices, share best practices, have talks, etc., in order to increase adoption, but not only increase the adoption per se, but increase quality adoption. And we can clearly see that our efficiency in producing high quality features has increased a lot. So in some teams, we see an increase in productivity by even 70%, which is huge, which leads to a situation where we are, well, getting behind in product management, actually delivering a sufficient number of well-defined tickets. So now the shift is actually
because now engineering is too fast, right? Okay.
Engineering is getting too fast. I hate to admit that, but now product becomes the bottleneck. So product management, product design, product analytics is becoming a bottleneck. So we're actually shifting our attention. So not that we're not trying to get engineering improvements still, we're still doing that, but we're also focusing on what can we actually do to improve product efficiency while not compromising on the quality of what we're doing. And one thing that is working pretty well, for example, especially for more technical tasks, is we've paired Unblocked, which is a tool that basically sits on your whole code base, so your GitHub repository, as well as Slack, as well as Confluence, as well as Jira, understands that and can answer then questions via an LLM with LangDoc assistance. So we're using LangDoc as our enterprise access to all the different LLMs out there. And we've built assistants that actually combine those and help us to write tickets quite automatically. So of course, with supervision, with the right questions, but what took us maybe a day, 2 days to investigate can now be cut down into 30 minutes, an hour, where a PM works with those AI tools to actually come up with a very well-specified ticket that an engineer can pick up, or even a code agent can pick up now. So, which is a huge step for us. We're still in the beginning. It's still the infancy of the development, but I clearly see a huge potential for us there.
It seems like we are at the beginning, but it's already became kind of default, right? So now we can't imagine that we will, roll back to writing tickets manually, writing all the code and so on. So it doesn't make sense after these 2 years. So
Absolutely.
that's good to know. So that was the first part, like their internal efficiencies. What about their products itself, what you're delivering to the market?
Now let's get to the really interesting stuff. I mean, I really like that we're getting more efficient internally and can deliver more great features to our users, more improvements to our users. But actually embedding it into our products is a game changer for us. So also here we have to differentiate actually 2 types of applications of AI in products. Just a bit of history of HeyJobs. HeyJobs has been using machine learning already for a long time, actually since its beginning, especially for our performance marketing, budget allocation. So we trained models there already very early when machine learning was still, I would say, a pretty hidden field for specialists and experts. But in the past 2 years, things have really picked up. So what we're trying to do is small improvements with existing LLMs. So small features that we're building. For example, use an API to LLM XYZ for job description creation, job description optimization, generation of marketing images or marketing videos at scale, which is working pretty well. But in the end, it relies upon prompt engineering and building proper workflows. But it already can create a lot of value for customers. But there is little differentiation in that, because in the end, everybody can do that. It's quite easy to pull off. So where is the differentiation? So we applied more to the hygiene factors. So things that customers expect, but don't let us differentiate anymore, because it's just, common sense to use it. It's a commodity now. Where we invest a lot more is build and fine tune our own models. So for example, I've already talked about budget allocation algorithm, a model that we have built years ago, and we still are optimizing over time. The next thing that we're really looking into, and we have models for, is interview and hire prediction. What does that mean? I mean, we're a jobs platform, so we get applications. So for us, it's not anymore about the number of applications that we get, but the quality. In order to improve quality, we need to understand what is actually a quality application. And for that, the only valid and reliable feedback that we can use is what recruiters are telling us. Do they invite somebody for an interview? Do they, in the end, make an offer or hire somebody? So those are the hard data that tell us, hey, that was a good application. So we're investing into getting this recruiter feedback at scale from ATS, but also from recruiters themselves, and then building models that help us to understand what is quality. And then feeding that into, again, our models for search and recommendations that we have built. So in the end, as a marketplace, the only sustainable advantage differentiation that you can have is via data network effects, where better and better data feed your models that lead to more data that lead to better models. So we're investing heavily into features that give us more availability of complete, accurate, and up-to-date data for jobs, as well as talents.
So you could reuse it, so you could use it in this in teaching those moments, and this is the differentiation, right? So this is not simple use case of web wrapper of the API of the general models, but this is something unique which you created, built on the data which only you have based on their on the platform and experience, right?
Correct. So, and we are plugging in LLMs at certain points where we see proper fit. For example, we're extracting data from CVs as well from jobs to have structured data. LLMs help us, and we even put an LLM on the extraction to do an additional validation to be really sure that what we have extracted makes sense. Because we're doing skills extraction on CVs as well as job descriptions. But sometimes on the job description, it extracts the skill according to the taxonomy correctly. So the skill is mentioned, but the skill is not mentioned as a requirement. So we can't use it. It's mentioned in a different context. And that context sensitivity, that context understanding is what the LLMs bring. So we put actually the LLM on top of the extraction again to do another validation according to, is that mentioned explicitly as a requirement, or can we deduct with, say, sufficient confidence that this is a requirement? And then we can say, hey, the job requires actually a skill like logistics or punctuation or whatever. And then we can actually use that in order to understand, does that candidate fulfill the skills and what is the quality of the application? And this is where we're trying to build our own models, bring in LLMs, fine-tune LLMs, and combine it in a, I have to say, complex way, but this is where the differentiation finally comes from. Not from, as you said, the simple wrapper,
Exactly.
good UX and good UI that you put on top of a standard LLM. That's not sustainable. We have proprietary data that we can use, and we're building our own system of own models, LLMs, file-tuned LLMs that actually bring the sustainable differentiation over time.
Amazing. That's sounds like a huge potential for applications in the future. And once again, you're building the new products, and then you're feeding this data and learnings from this data to teach their models to be better, and so on. It's like the iterative process. That's great. So I imagine you have lots of requests for the features and lots of things on your roadmap. So let's move on to the topic of prioritization and basically how to find the balance between their customer feedback and what people are asking for and their feature overloaded unintuitive mess, because we can't build everything what people are asking for. It's just not realistic. We will have the monster. So what's your solution for this?
I totally agree. So first of all, we're of course getting tons of feedback, both from employers and from talent through many different channels, structured as well as unstructured, and we have it in many different systems. So the first step is actually how to bring it together and how to cut through all the noise to the things that repeat and that make sense. And then you still have to look at all that feedback through different lenses, because customer feedback, of course, is the single best truth for identifying problems, but it's rarely the best source for the solution, because customers are always looking at their own very specific case, and then they have an idea how they would do it better, but they're usually not product managers, and they're usually not overseeing many customer feedbacks. So always take it with a grain of salt. So the three things that we're trying to do is actually first listen to the problem, but not the prescription. So the customers are experts in their own problems, fully understood, but we are the experts in building solutions that scale across a whole customer segment or all our customers. So what we are trying to do is actually find the scalable solution to a problem. The second thing is quantify the opportunity and the impact. So how many customers do actually have the same problem? How important is that problem to them? Does solving the problem lead to improvements in our business metrics, or is it a side problem, an edge case that in the end they don't care about? And the third advice is filter it through your strategy and vision. So think about, where do I want to be in 3 years? What are actually the most important steps that get us there? Of course, that should be led by your understanding of the big customer problems, but you can only afford to be distracted from that path by smaller problems, let's say, in a certain amount. So sprinkle in the smaller feedback that you get all the time, but think about how much of that is still worth pursuing compared to the overall vision that you're building for. And if you follow those three lenses, you will be able to say often no with a clear reasoning to customer feedback. I mean, the sales org is standing on my feet all the time. Hey, customer XYZ told me this and this. We have to build this and this feature. And I can always point them back to our roadmap and say, oh, we have it on the roadmap. We're actually building this. Or I can say, you've heard it now only one time. Let's dive a little deeper. Let's understand the problem. Let's look through the three lenses, and then I can say with a lot of confidence, no, let's not do it, because it's not more important than X, Y, that we are already doing. Brings more value to all of your customers and not only the one that we're talking about right now. Saying no is an important skill for every product manager and every product leader.
That's true. But for some things you say yes. And let's talk maybe because we're getting out of time, but you have so many great ideas here, so I just don't want to stop. So maybe we'll finish with some question. Tell us about one of the most recent features initiatives where you actually said yes, which is related to AI. And is there anything you'd like to share us? How did you come up to this decision to build this feature? What it is about, and so on?
Yeah, actually, I'm really happy to talk about it right now. Because the feature we'll talk about now, we just released today to all our customers going out of a beta phase. And it's our big theme at the ZP Europe, which is the biggest HR trade fair in Europe, going on in Cologne right now as we speak. So we'll later go to the trade fair.
So we have the premiere, right? So we have
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Amazing. I'm happy to hear
So it's
about
good
it.
timing. Good timing. So actually, what we built is an AI assessment assistant for recruiters. And why did we build it? Because we saw a big paradigm shift in the industry that a lot of customers told us about. Until I would say 1-2 years ago, it was all about application quantity. So customers were telling us we're not getting a sufficient number of applications. We get no
Enough
applications.
CVs, right? Exactly.
Exactly. So the application quantity was the big problem. So we optimized everything for application quantity. And in the past 2 years, the markets have shifted. I mean, we all know the economic situation right now in many countries, also in Germany. So labor markets are not what they have been 2 years ago. So what is now important is application quality. So our customers are telling us, yeah, application quantity is actually okay. Actually, we're getting sometimes too many applications.
Yeah.
But application quality is not good. So we're getting wrong applications. It takes us a lot of time screening them, and finding the right ones is difficult for us. So we said, okay, what can we actually do about application quality? And this is a very complex problem, and this feature that we have built doesn't solve it completely, of course, but it's a very important step for us. So, and if you look at the problem of application quality, you will find out that is multifaceted. So on the one side, you have the quality of the application itself. Is it complete? Does it contain all the necessary information? Is it well structured? So that's one part. And the other part is that exactly the right candidate? So you can get a complete, well-structured application, but it's still the wrong candidate.
But it not fits the job description, right? Like what's required there.
But at least you can now then see it quickly. You don't have to call the candidate again to ask for additional information. So we said we're actually working on the problem from two sides. One side is delivering more fitting applicants. And the other thing is supporting our customers in the screening. And they are actually supporting each other. I will quickly explain how in a second. So let's go to that AI screening assistant that we call Hey Assessment. What it does is the following. So we get an application for a job. We have built a lot of semantic understanding of the actual job. So extracting all the job traits, all the job requirements, really understanding what this job is about and what it requires. And we have built a lot of extraction and talent profiles with tons of data, really understanding the talent. Now, the application comes in and we compare the job traits and requirements with whatever we have on the talent. And we are identifying the gaps. That's the first step. So we do a gap analysis. We actually do it with AI because it's tons of unstructured data. So the AI gives us back, well, we're missing this and this and this information. Ask them for their work experience in Germany, for the work permit. Ask them for, do they speak German and at which level? Ask them about this and this specific skills. Ask them about the fitting education, just to name a few examples. And we are immediately initiating a chat, again, driven by AI, after the application saying, hey, thanks for your application. We have a few more questions. Are you willing to spend some time with us to answer those? Usually takes 5 to 7 minutes, this chat. And what it actually does, it completes the application in the chat. quite effectively. And we then generate a standardized job-specific profile for every candidate. So the profile looks exactly the same for the job, and it's very job-specific. So it just says, this job requires those skills. Does the candidate have those skills? And what do they say about those skills? How many years? And did they give some specific examples about those skills? And that actually increases the efficiency how recruiters can screen candidates and make decisions about candidates substantially. So they need to spend way less time.
I can imagine, like, based on what you said, it's like it drastically speeds up the whole like first part of their recruitment process itself, because the first part often is the clarification of the things which are missing in their, which are specific for the job description, which are missing in the profile. This is what often the first, HR call with their recruiter is about, actually. So that's
correct.
That's great.
And every application looks different. And now we have a standardized application profile that you can easily compare across many candidates. So that actually helps recruiters already a lot, reducing screening effort, speeding up hiring time, because you don't have to wait for additional information coming in. It's already there, and leading to better decisions, and finally leading to more hiring success. So that's the direct effect that we have on recruiters. The indirect effect is actually fueling, again, data network effects, because we get a lot more data on the job itself, and we get a lot more high quality confirmed candidate data that we can use to fuel our models again to find more fitting candidates. So our next step is actually, so we invested a lot of time now into getting all those data. We're now building with our data team a data layer that holds all those data available for our machine learning teams. And now we start fueling that into our models in order to improve in marketing, in product, search, recommendations, as well as all the other marketing channels.
Amazing.
So that means, in the end, this is what I meant with, you have to have a clear vision. So what is actually driving your differentiation? If you say it's data network effects and application quality in the end that you deliver, you build your features around that strategy and make sure that they support each other's, leading to compounded effects. If you have just unrelated initiatives, you will never get to compounded effects.
That's true. And yet, following back to what you heard before, I have a proposition for you. Let's meet in a couple of months to see what was the result actually of releasing these new features. Have you actually reached your goals? What what you expected before? What were your bets? Were there actually have this feature and everything you've spoken before actually brought the result which you waited to have? So what do you think?
I am confident. So let's have that talk. The good thing is, as we did a proper opportunity validation, we clearly defined our success metrics. I already know that we've reached the conversion rates in the chat, for example, but I can't tell you yet about the outcome metrics for recruiters, because you always have to wait until you know how many interviews did you get, how many hires have been made. Does that improve relative to before or relative to customers that haven't activated the feature? So there is a time lag effect in our analyses, but I'm very confident that we will reach. And if we don't reach them perfectly, we will iterate until we are there.
Exactly. That's great. Okay, so let's see if we have any questions. I don't see any questions, but if we will have them later on, I will forward it to you. Jens, thank you so much for this session. I've learned a lot. I'm rooting for for the HeyJobs, and I'm happy to be part of the premiere of the new features. So wish you good luck and congrats to the teams with the release, and see you on their product successes and disruption talks on the later episodes.
Thanks a lot, Pavel. It was a pleasure being here. I hope I was able to give some good insights others can profit from, and all the best.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.